Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and in this one I'm just sharing a bit of a collage journal page that I've created in the small craft journal using some of my new collage papers from Funky Fossil. So this is the thankful release that's just happened, and I've just grabbed one of the pieces of paper from the collage pack that's got these fabulous monstera leaves on, and carefully fussy cutting them out. Taking my time, as you can see, with my fancy scissors from Tim Holtz. So I did spend quite a lot of time kind of faffing about with this really, and placing things in different positions to see what was going to work best. I think that's one of the fun things about collage, is just spending that bit of time sort of auditioning things and seeing where they're going to work. Sometimes I find, for me, collages come together really quickly, and sometimes they do take a bit more thinking. And sometimes I think even the process of spending that time pondering what's going to work is what makes it take more time, obviously, because then you start overthinking, and it's that overthinking that is the problem. So, basically what I'm trying to say is this probably would not have been as tricky had I just stuck some bits down on my page, because I started overthinking it. It ended up feeling like it was a bit of a problem. So then I've grabbed some other elements from that pack and a piece from the Heartfelt journal collage papers as well. I started feeling that it needed a little bit more contrast between the green elements that were on there. So I grabbed a piece of that black and white spotty paper from the first collage paper release, and just ripping a piece out of there to use to create a little bit of contrast on this page. And then it was like, okay, so it needs to go somewhere. Where is it going to go? And feeling that the pieces were all then too big, so just tearing more bits off them. So I like that look of the sort of torn edge. It's a softer look than cutting with scissors, and I think that's a great way to create that, to achieve that sort of softer finish with collage pieces, is to tear them and not cut them, particularly when you're creating little sort of collage platforms like this for your pieces to sit on. So I wanted to put this little bit of two leaves on something, and you can see, look, that looks okay, but it's disappearing, isn't it, against the background. So it was a case of, right, this isn't quite right, it needs something else in there. So then I decided I would cut out a few of the circles to use on the page as well. So spent a bit of time cutting some of those out, because I think as well, having that black and white contrast on there is something that's always worth thinking about. But then you will see in a minute what it was that this page was lacking. And I think it's like when you have those, oh my gosh, moments. Yes, that's what I need to do. And what it needed was to paint across the middle of the page where the little collage platform was going to go, just to create that extra layer of contrast for the rest of the page. So I'm using these little circles as well, just to add another element of contrast onto the page. See, kind of all the time, just like that, when you know something is not quite right. And you can see I'm thinking like it needs connecting, and I think that's what the problem was. So this is where I grabbed some black paint and swiped some paint down my page. So what I've done here is connected the page together and created somewhere for that little collage element to sit. Somewhere that almost creates, even though it's black, bear with me, it creates like an area of calm for it to sit. And then I'm just using my dotty stamp, and I am just blending those edges a little bit by adding a few dots onto there as well. And you can see that works so much better now. So you can still see the collage underneath, but it has created that area for the collage to go. And then I decided I would just have a play with my Stabilo all pencil. I've got a white one, and just drawing some lines across, so that's joining the top and the bottom of the page together again, and connecting that collage piece in the middle to the top and bottom of the page. Now here I'm just faffing even more, just ripping more pieces off, making bits that are too long, just taking a bit more off the ends, just so that it sits together a bit more easily. So then I stuck it in place using a bit of a glue stick, just adding a little bit on the back of there as well, because so far I'd only added the collage pieces together using a Tim Holtz tiny attacher. I do find that's the quickest way to just get the pieces where you want them to be without faffing about with glue. You can keep it held in your hand and just quickly fasten them together using the tiny attacher. And I take no credit for that idea. That is definitely one of Dina's things that she does. In fact, I would say that you rarely see Dina using glue when she's collaging. She more often than not just staples things together and then staples them in a book. So it's good enough for Dina, it's good enough for me. So then I'm using my Stabilo all pencil in black, and I'm just outlining those leaves a little bit, just to help pull them into the foreground a little bit more. And actually this was quite a fun page to create using all these different pieces of collage paper, and I do like it when you know that something isn't quite right and it isn't working, and then you have that moment where you think, I know what I need to do, I know how this is going to fix. And then I went in and added some marks using the Stabilo all pencil, and I think I might have actually disappeared them at the end as well. I just rubbed them away with a baby wipe because I decided I didn't like them. And then I'm using the circles that I've cut out, because this is a perfect example of me not knowing when to stop. I think it would have worked perfectly fine without those circles, but you know, I've cut them out, so they're jolly well going on on my page. And I suppose they're also helping to connect everything together. And also you can see there I was like just auditioning that piece, working out where it was going to make the page feel balanced, and it definitely worked better at the bottom of the page than it did at the side, without bringing that black element too far over to the right hand side of the page. So then I'm using one of the stamps from my Grow Positive stamp set. This is from a previous release, and I'm going to be stamping those words onto a piece of white cardstock using an acrylic block for the stamp as well, and some black archival ink. Giving it a really good press down just to make sure it gives a good impression of the stamp. And then because I like to tidy away, I kind of tidy up as I go along really. And then I've cut each word individually out, and I'm going to just stick them onto the page using some clear glue. I noticed a bit was flapping up there, so I've just stuck that down as well. This is where I should really have used my little tweezers. And the quote works quite well on the right hand side because the black is a really great contrast with the colour behind, and just sticking that down. So this is a really great example of how you can get trapped into that overthinking, particularly when you're doing collaging. And actually, I don't think it matters really. It's part of the process, isn't it? Just enjoying that process that you're going through. And finding a solution to the thing that you know in your gut isn't quite working right. So, you know, it might not be a collage that other people would call successful, because it's probably not got all the elements it should have. But I felt I'd enjoyed creating this page, and I enjoyed playing with the collage elements too. Here I'm just outlining the words just to help pop those out a little bit more, and you can see how the difference that makes, just adding that outline around that text too. So lots of fun just to have a bit of a play, and bringing two of my collage packs together that I've released through Sarah at Funky Fossil. So lots of fun, and I think one of the things that I'm really loving is seeing how well each of these different releases work together too. So I'm just using a Signo Uniball in white and just adding a little bit more mark making onto my page as well. See, still faffing. Okay, so that is pretty much it for this page. That was how it came about. It was quite a long process to get to this stage, and I've kind of left it all in for you to see so that you could see how I faffled about really. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope you found some inspiration from this too. Thanks for watching, and I really hope to see you again soon.